So again, we're back with Hair Wings Live with Hal Gill, your host. The Passing Show. Fair amount of traffic around. It's Friday morning, September 5th, I believe, 2025. Checking out the things being offered in the window of Kramer Books, one of our better independent booksellers in the area. Original Sin. To Lose the War, the fall and rise of the Taliban. JFK, that's a new one. Public-private secret. It's a lot to learn. Choke points, American power in the age of economic warfare. Careless people. Yeah, I'm looking forward to going back on with David A. Andelman sometimes. I don't know if he's here now. Just Clancy Stedwell so far. Not just, but Clancy Stedwell's here. That's good. And the passing show goes on. I'm going to go down to the circle, probably walk around it a little bit, maybe, depending on what I'm moved to do. This is the site formerly of Bedazzled, a bead store that then turned into a bank briefly, that then folded up and released again that space. But that's where I met my dear wife, Lynn. Lynn is a stroke survivor, as was pointed out in a post about her being duped into being with me. Yeah, that may be true. But when I met her, she had not had a stroke yet, and she was working at the Academy for Educational Development, a nonprofit NGO up there on the, what is it called? The Universal Building, which is right across from where we live now. Took her on a walking date from Bedazzled down and around and up and down, and we ended up at St. X's for dinner and walked back to her car. It was parked at the Universal Building parking lot, and that was nice. You know, we had a nice time. And she had one other date, I think, after that with somebody else, but then I locked her in. It became exclusive really rapidly. And within a year, we're married, for better or for worse. And then autoimmune hepatitis struck her, and then a stroke at a year and a half in that paralyzed her on the left side of her body for life. It's kind of sad, but we've been making it like a three-legged race through life. So I think about that every time I pass Bedazzled over there, over yonder, and really feel good about the fact that we've stayed married now these 17 years and change, 18 years together overall. It was around September 20th that I proposed in 2007, in my little flat that I don't live in anymore, so we can't really revisit the spot where it happened, but that's where it happened. I thought about doing it on the steps of the Library of Congress, but we didn't do that. I would have made a nicer venue for it. It was a pretty evening. Could have done it. I don't know. I was scared to death to do it. I figured she'd say yes, but I wasn't sure. And once that happened, well, one thing led to another. One thing leads to another. And here we are now. Very lucky. Very, very lucky. Go across. Oops, no, I can't do that. Thought I could. How's that flashing? You don't have the right of way. Idiots. Me included. At least I didn't stop. I did stop. I didn't go all the way across against the lights. Here we go. Run into red lights. So unnecessary. Documentation. Somebody's going to end up in one of those ambulances. Wonder what that one's about, actually. I don't see why emergency vehicles are here, but there must be a reason. Treating somebody. Don't know. Okay, I'm gonna go. I go over and scan the windows at P Street's second story books. If I get a chance. Got a chance. So there's a police presence down here. Is there any National Guard in it? Oh yeah. They got the National Guard right over yonder. They're camouflaged, so a little hard to see, but there they are. 3 of them on patrol, standing talking to each other as usual. Usual suspects generally. Friend here and I bank at the same place. I don't know, man. Life is weird. Every choice we make puts us where we are. Every, little decision I'm making, every little variable. Everything's interwoven. I was talking a bit about Mayor Baba recently because I'm really fascinated by him and his trajectory in the body until 1969 when he dropped it and went on to whatever, planes he's operating on, which is all planes and beyond, supposedly. And he alone exists. But now we've got all this diversification of ourselves and the different patterns. Looking at Keeper Federal over there, defending our nation's digital borders against cyber attacks. It's interesting. I want to know more about Keeper Federal. I'll see these buses all over the place with a big advertisement on them. This is a D96 to Bethesda we're looking at. The flow of people, materials, all through Cintas Facility Services, for instance. It's a lot of different companies in competition with each other for different services. This is one of mine, a service called Pass and Show, a little just general Galactic Popular, PKD, Philip K. Dick. I am enamored with Philip K. Dick. You can probably tell from my Substack portrait of him, saying what the full motto is of that is, reality is that which doesn't disappear when you stop believing in it, or when you stop believing in it, does not disappear. A lot of Nabokov here. Marcel Proust, Search of Lost Time. Hear a little noise there outside the turn and look. Pax Britannica. Sherlock Holmes, Dungeons and Dragons. Is that The Man Without Qualities by Robert Musil. Stephen Hawking, The Illustrated Brief History of Time, The Universe in a Nutshell. Beethoven, celebrating 50 years. Inside Mad. Welcome to Oddville, X-Men. No, there's a lot of different things here. New catalog. 20th, 21st century fiction. Reappraisal Day highlights. August 2025. Since Red Books Elements Antiquarian Spotlight. Yeah, book all over the place. Secondstorybooks.com. Thought about having them come in and look at my collection, but I've got a lot. I probably ought to bring things in at some point if I wanted to sell them, but they give credit. Got a certificate of clean hands. I need to make sure that I've got everything in place for my business as well. A History of the English-Speaking Peoples by Winston Churchill. Just thinking about some of the things I think I may have not gotten from my father's library. And it just got dispersed. I don't know. I don't know what happened. But I don't guess I need to know. I just let my sister do what she does, and I have gratitude that she takes care of things. I don't get any accounting, but as a silent member of the trust, I just stand by and wait for the inevitable and hope that things will work out. She'll probably tell me there's nothing left. Uh, it is what it is. A lot of different liquors, man. And there's no safe amount for human consumption. All poisons to us in the aspect of carcinogenic, not to mention the damage that alcohol does to every cell in your body. And it does go to every cell in the body once it hits. It's just amazing how toxic it is and how much we use it. How much we use anything to feel differently than we feel. Food, caffeine. I definitely had a good dose of caffeine today. Let's see. Looping down here to what purpose? Cute little dog. A French bulldog. Emissary's kind of quiet. A couple of people sitting outside. I don't know if anybody's on the inside. Sometimes they have table service, which I like. You get a really good smoothie there. I probably ought to have one. Or I ought to get into the green juice I have at home. Speaking of home, it's that way. So I can't go that way. But now go light with me. Watch your step there. The road's a little broken up here. And a turn. It's strange to be 62 in 2025, not knowing really what the next thing is. But in my ignorance, still taking in the passing show, gathering information, thinking about it, turning it over in my head, considering the pace of technology, learning through conversations and the podcast, which at 10 o'clock today will be with Kay Stoner. And who else is here, by the way? We've got Origin. I kind of have you on again, Origin. The Bigger Lie. Maybe we could have you on if you like. Let's meet up sometime. Francisca Cassini, Nancy Steadwell. So just the four of us. Maybe you're still watching, maybe you're not. But yeah, Kay Stoner's on at 10 o'clock on the Harrowings podcast. We've been doing a pretty close to weekly thing, and I think we're planning to make it weekly. Check-ins with her, sharing insights. I don't have many, but I do have this vision that I keep working on of how we can mitigate the existential crises that humanity faces. And what more important work could there be than becoming good ancestors? Sum it up that way. Remember, every cent spent is a boat, the kind of world we're co-creating, because every time we spend anything, it moves something in terms of goods or services or whatever. And this is a service like any other. It's also goods because, the spoken and written word and the visual content is a unique perspective. That's something David A. Andelman said about me, which I thought was really interesting, but I was unique in my raw journalism of who, what, when, and where, of taking in the passing show, being kind of a flaneur of DC in just a little area. I don't really cover a lot of ground. Have some good news in some ways. Last night I found that they had rescheduled the Who concert for Philadelphia for the 10th of September. So it came up fast, but I contacted my hotel and they did indeed have a room for me. This one's on the first floor, not the fourth floor. So that'll be nice. I did very much like the room I had, but it was a lot of stairs. This one is just behind the lounge of the Guild House Hotel, or boutique hotel, just across Broad on Locust. closer to the Liberty Bell area and all that. I mean, it's a nice venue. I wish I was able to stay there longer than I'm going to be staying there, but it is what it is. I may go back to the Philly Museum of Art again. I don't know. I quite often kill time there before checking into my hotel. It's going to be a tight turn because I've got this ultimate, Bob O'Reilly package or whatever. Front row seat, third section of the floor, seat three. So it's sort of towards the aisle, I believe, towards the middle. So I'll have a pretty good view of Pete's side of the stage. And that'll appeal to me because I really like what Pete Townsend lays down. I, too, am a Baba lover. We are connected to Charles Haynes, who was part of Baba's inner circle when he was a child and is still a writer, having done his, I think, doctoral dissertation work on Mayor Baba with a book called The Awakener in its second edition now. Came out in the second edition in 1993. I think the original was about the same time I knew Charles, when he was director of religious life and the mentor or sponsor of the faculty for Amnesty International and Waging Peace, among other things. So I was really grateful to have crossed his path during my undergraduate days. I didn't fully comprehend everything he was telling us, but I did think he was a fine human being. And I also saw that, my friends who were involved in these things also seemed to be fine human beings. Many of them very sort of together, sort of straight kids. Me, I was not. I was all over the map, lost, confused. I'm sure deeply traumatized by life experiences already without really realizing it. And I lived. I transformed. I became better. I started taking personal responsibility for my moods. And I appreciate the beauty of life now. There's close-ups there, some of the just flora and fauna that shadows us, as it were. Timing is everything. Timing is so important for humor. And I tend to think of my blog here as philosophy and humor. This is a passing show after all, but there's a deep earnestness to that. There's deep wisdom in Don't Panic, humorous book called The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. We're talking a little bit about The Hitchhiker's Guide to Jack Kerouac recently by Brian Hassett. Happens to now be a friend of mine, virtually speaking. He's had quite a crazy quilt life himself, and I got to get Brian on sometime. See if he's on Substack, and if he's not, maybe I can move him over that way. Oh, gosh. Got Amy Neumann coming up. Who else is on coming up? Does anybody say anything? Hey, Lost Vibes 100. Hey, Bob Hibike. That's nice to have six besides me on the passing show today, taking in traffic along 21st Street, heading back to the house. It's a nice walk. I don't have a lot. Well, we got actually senior services coming in today, the people who are going to be taking care of us long range. We're contracting with them to look after us in our dotage. The idea is to keep us in our home and do what they can with what we have to work with. They're going to meet us. We're going to meet them. Going to feel good about that. They were recommended by my estate planner, Andrea Brick, who I hope to have on the line here. That's bryklaw.com. If you're interested in having your estate planning taken care of, I highly recommend her. She's doing a great job for us. Got to put our condo in the trust, and she's working that side of things for us. I'm looking at tiny little roses. Can barely smell them, but they're there. Also, some that are kind of getting a little worn. And onward. Yeah, gonna cross here. Watching the Fells Point Wholesale Meats. If you haven't been to Fells Point, Baltimore, it's a nice spot to check out on the Inner Harbor, just off the Inner Harbor. Haven't been over there in a while myself. I do love Baltimore, though. Just a bit of a hike from DC, from the corners of Florida and Connecticut Avenue S and 21st. So this came off of. There's Phelps Place down there, and then Decatur Place, and all these roads running together make up my neighborhood. There's the front side of the bunker. It's a turreted place there. I saw that the SUV was in place to pick up Maxine Waters and take her over to Congress. I understand she's 87 years old, born in 1938. Just recently, I think August 15th, clicked over 87. Bless her heart. Still in Congress, still representing the people of California from her district. And she's kind of a big noise in Congress, too. So something to think about how her impact has colored the political landscape over the years. Okay, here we go. That Toyota's going to get a green light pretty darn soon. Yep, it's rolling. Out of its way, though. That guy's not being too safe in his biking. But, oh well. He lived. We're living. See, no, not much in here. Little free library. Well, Anna Blandiana, Opera Poetica. And these look like all books in the Romanian language, and one in, I think, Spanish. Okay, so we need to add some books to that. I think that might be a good task for the day. See if I have anything that I can part with and put it out there. See what happens. Okay, so that's the passing show for the moment. Who, what, when, and where. Washington, D.C. Public services trash truck going by. Be the change you want to see in the world, folks. And remember, every cent spent is a vote for the kind of world we are co-creating. I'm out here. Thanks for joining. No, I did not install the Book Depot. That was installed by the Romanians of America. I'm not Romanian, but they did it. And it's right outside the Embassy of Moldova. So I love that. Okay, out here.